مشاهدينا في كل مكان، أهلا ومرحبا بكم. احنا معاكم اليوم داخل سفارة مملكة السويد لدى جمهورية مصر العربية. لقاءنا اليوم مع سعادة السفير هوكان إيمسجورد سفير مملكة السويد، ولقاءنا اليوم هيكون عن أبرز المحطات الدبلوماسية لسعادة السفير، وأيضا هنتحدث عن دولة السويد وطبيعتها الجغرافية وشعبها. لو عايزين تعرفوا أكتر تابعونا بهذا اللقاء. يكون في ضيافتنا اليوم سعادة السفير هوكان إيمسجورد سفير مملكة السويد لدى جمهورية مصر العربية. Your Excellency, first allow me to thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you for having me.
At the beginning, we normally talk about your diplomatic stations before coming to Egypt. So can you please tell us more about it?
I started my career in the finance ministry. After that, I spent a couple of years in London at the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development as a deputy director. And only then I joined the foreign ministry, where I worked mainly on European affairs. So I was what would be correspondent maybe to assistant minister for European affairs, and then ambassador to the Netherlands. So that is basically it.
You have more backgrounds in the industry field, you can say something like this.
Yeah, more in the financial area, if you like, which is now, I think, an advantage for me to understand what is happening also in the economic and business field here in Egypt.
That's great. Your Excellency, would like to talk about Sweden. We know that Sweden have a very beautiful landscapes, which make it one of the beautiful destination if someone really into the landscape and nature. So can you tell us more about those landscapes and about the geographic nature of Sweden?
Sweden is a large country. We are the same size surface as Italy, but we're only 10 million people. So it leaves a lot of nature. So you can experience this in a way where you can be totally alone out in the nature. You can do hiking, you can go with your bicycle, you can do canoeing. We have vast areas in the north of Sweden where we have a landscape which is unique to Europe. So if you want to experience the nature, the forests, the lakes, this is highly recommendable.
It's very nice. And what about the North Lights, which is
Northern
very
Lights,
yes.
If you go far up north, above the polar circle, and if you're lucky, because luck is also necessary for this, you will see the Northern Lights, which is absolutely unique natural phenomenon. But there are also many other things to experience there. If you go there in the winter time, you can visit the Ice Hotel, which is a building all built in ice where you can stay the night and experience conditions that are very different from those that you have here in Egypt, I can promise you.
I would like also to know more about the position of Sweden on the map, the countries around it, and the people around that already have an influence on Swedish people also.
We are part of Scandinavia, we are part of Northern Europe, so we feel very close to the other Scandinavian countries, to Finland, Norway, Sweden. We share language with those countries, and we share also history and culture. But I would also like to say that on the other side of the Baltic Sea, we also have 3 Baltic countries, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, which we also share a common history and experience. So we feel very close together with the other countries in Scandinavia and around the Baltic Sea.
2010, Stockholm, the capital of Sweden, were nominated or declared as a green city, and still until now having this title. So how could you do it? How did you manage to keep it until now, Kaman, especially?
I think this explains by our will to live close to the nature. So even when we moved to Stockholm, who is the capital city and the largest city of the country, we want to live close to the nature. So we have arranged this in a way that we have huge parks, green areas in Stockholm. So even if you live in the city, you will always live close to a green area. And this is the way that the Swedish people prefer to live, to have access to the nature all the time and very close to where they live.
Mm-hmm. That takes us to a very important question about the Swedish people, the traditions, the custom.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give us an idea about them and describe how they live and how is the atmosphere inside the families' houses?
Swedish people like to celebrate the family holidays. I think this is the most important feature. So we have some that are more important than others. One which I like to talk about is the Lucia celebrations, which is on the 13th of December. It's in the darkest part of the year. So if you are in Stockholm, the sun will rise maybe at 10 o'clock and it will go down at 3 o'clock. So you only have a couple of hours of sunlight. And in this, the darkest time of the year, we have the lady with light in her hair called Lucia. Lucia is actually a Catholic saint from Sicily. And this is an Italian tradition merged with ancient Swedish folkloric tradition. Some features we borrowed from other European countries, such as Germany, and we have this fantastic mixture where early in the morning of the 13th of December, Lucia comes with the lights in her hair and visits all the workplaces, all the schools, all the hospitals, all the institutions in Sweden. And it's something that every Swedish person is taking part in this. Mm-hmm. You do it in the family, you do it in the workplace, you do it wherever you be. So this is something that we also celebrate here at the embassy every year with, of course, Swedish people, but where we also invite Egyptians to share this tradition with us.
About this phenomena that your Excellency just told us about it, which is most of the day is no light. Mm-hmm. How did it affect the people in their work, in industry, field, and the economy? How could you really manage to achieve a good economy, a high economy, with an atmosphere like this?
Well, we have a dark part of the year, and then we have a light part of the year where we have the long white evenings in the summer. So we are sort of compensated for this darker time. I think that we are very rather disciplined people. We are Protestants, you know, and Protestants tend to be very dutiful. So this is something that we work on. But of course, if you go to Sweden in the beginning of the year, if you go there in April and May, where the spring comes and the sun comes, you can see that people are very happy when they see the light and the sun and the warmth and all these things.
Talking also about the people, I would like to know more about the handicrafts that distinguish Swedish and the industries that really it's very important in Sweden country. And so I would like to know more about the industries that distinguish Sweden.
I think here we have a similarity with Egypt because we are both engineering countries. We are producing things and we are innovating things. So if you look back in our industrial history, it's characterized by technical innovation in the automotive industry, in the telecom industry, in the health industry, for instance. And that is why also in different international rankings, you can see that Sweden is ranked maybe #1 or #2 when it comes to the most innovative countries in the world. And this is also, of course, linked to the fact that we have many universities, good universities in Sweden, not least in the technical engineering sector, such as the Royal Institute of Technology, for instance, but there are many others also.
Speaking about universities and science and these things, and of course mentioning the name or having all this interview in the Kingdom of Sweden, we have to talk about the famous scientist Alfred Nobel and the Nobel Prize, which is a dream of all the scientists all over around the world. So can we know more about this prize, please? And I would like to know why or how it become so important to all the science around the world.
Yeah, it's very interesting if you look at what kind of person was Alfred Nobel. He was an entrepreneur, an industrialist, and an innovator. His most famous innovation is dynamite, which changed a lot of industry worldwide. And what he said is that I want to reward those things, those innovations that has been that has done the most good for humanity, contributed to the development of humanity. This was his idea. So we have arranged this prize now for more than 100 years. We have prize winners from all over the world. We have an Egyptian prize winner in chemistry in 1999. We have, of course, the prize also in literature.
Yes.
With
Naguib Mahfouz,
yes. Of course. And this was also a way for Alfred Nobel to link technical innovation, engineering, to culture and literature, which he was also very interested in. And on top of the Peace Prize, because Alfred Nobel was very interested in how could we achieve peace in the world, how could we do that through various meetings, conferences, and so on. Yeah. So he felt strongly about this, and that's why we are so happy that every year on the 10th of November we can celebrate the Nobel Day in Sweden. We can receive all the winners from all over the world, and this of course also becomes a celebration for innovation, technology, culture, and also peace. So for us it's really an honor for us to have this heritage.
We had also the peace Anwar Sadat, the late President Anwar Sadat, he had a peace prize. Yes, that's right. Back to talk about the Swedish people and the music, which is something a part of their let's say the culture of the Swedish people, and the pop one of the kind of the music that's really spread internationally from Swedish people that really made a good and improvement in this kind of music. So can you tell us more about this?
We had, when we celebrated the National Day, our National Day, which is the 6th of June, we made it into an ABBA Day. So we had a fantastic Egyptian cover band playing all the ABBA songs, and we had about 1,000 guests here in our garden in the residence, and I was amazed that everybody knew the songs. Egyptian people, other people who came to us, they all knew the songs, they all liked it, and we had a great celebration of this. I think culture is extremely important for our relations. And in particular, if I may say so, in these days when we have so many difficulties, we have a war going on very close to where we are at the moment in Gaza. We have a war in Sudan, we have problems in Libya. There are these issues, very serious issues that we need to deal with. But I think in those times, culture is even more important than under normal circumstances, because we really need to get to know each other, we need to talk to each other, we need to find ways of having a dialogue. And the most important instrument to achieve this is through cultural exchange, to getting to know each other's ways, traditions, music, literature, all of these things. So for us, culture is not something that we do on the margin or on the fringe of things. This is a core,
main thing, yeah.
Exactly, it's a core activity of our embassy.
Your Excellency, if I ask you about the status of women in Sweden, what can you tell us about it?
I think there has been a fantastic development over the last 30, 40 years. So if you look at the workforce in Sweden, women and men work equally, and we have a labor participation of something between 75 and 80%, both for men and for women. So what has made this possible? I think one critical issue here is the childcare system. So the government and the municipalities can offer childcare for all the children, which enables women to go to work and to participate in the labor market. And you might ask, how can we afford this? Doesn't it cost a lot of money? Well, for each person that we are hire in the daycare system, in the preschool institutions, 3 women are able to take part in the labor market. And these 3 women are, of course, earning money, paying taxes, contributing to society in different ways. So that's how this system, to a large part, is financing itself. And I would like to say another thing about this, because you ask about the role of women in society, but you can also talk about the role of men in society, I think. And here there's a great difference from my generation and my father's generation, because my generation and people who are younger than me, they take part in the raising of their children to a much larger extent than before. So for instance, we have a system for parental leave, and in my case, we shared this between me and my wife. So I spent 6 months with each children, I have 2 children, on parental leave. And my wife spent also 6 months for this.
That's great.
And I think that the difference is, if I were to ask my father or that generation, I think they feel that they lost out in the contact with their children, and something that we have gained with having a closer contact or closer relations with our children. So also the role of men in society is changing a lot.
Almost equal.
Almost equal, not really, but because we still have some challenges. We still have challenges when it comes to differences in wages, for instance, which is still something we struggle with. But there has been important progress in this sense, absolutely.
So much for the time that you gave us, and please allow us to have another interview to talk about the relation between Egypt and Sweden, but in another episodes.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
مشاهدينا في كل مكان، وبكده انتهى معاكم لقائنا مع سعادة السفير هوكان إيمسجورد سفير مملكة السويد لدى جمهورية مصر العربية. بتمنى ان يكون اللقاء افادكم في كم المعلومات اللي انتوا استفدتوا من خلالها وعرفتوا من خلالها اكتر عن مملكة السويد، واشوفكم على خير ان شاء الله في لقاء اخر.